If you're suffering from anxiety, what options do you have to get well? On the one hand, you can seek medical attention, where their approach will be either to give you some type of drug or to refer you to either a psychologist or perhaps someone who does some type of breath work. So you either have someone who's going to address elements of the mind, your thinking, or someone who's going to help you with breath, maybe working more with the body. There seems to be very limited options available. And the biggest challenge I find is that when you separate and only work on one part of it, you're really missing some really important elements. If you have some thinking patterns associated with some shift in your physiology that triggers maybe some different breathing patterns, and which forces you to go down the path of hyperventilating, you can't really separate the body and the mind because they're the same thing. If I'm getting all uptight and storing a whole bunch of tension and my stress from life's traumas and tense moments, then I don't naturally want to be able to breathe because it's so much that I'm holding here in my chest. A lot of the people who come to see me with anxiety have a huge amount of tension locked up here in their body, and it restricts their breathing. Now, is this coming from their thinking? Sometimes it is. And sometimes it's coming from an experience, their first anxiety attack, which seems like it came out of the blue. But what happens is life seems to build upon itself and get more and more intense, and we seem to find ourselves in this situation, building and storing more, having this big problem, life's not working, seek help. And if you go to the person who only addresses one element or tries to suppress the symptom, you're never going to be able to unlock what's really going on beneath that. So we have a more holistic approach that isn't just working on the body, isn't just working on your breathing, isn't just working on your thought patterns. It encompasses all of those things, but also how you're responding and reacting to life. I honestly believe that when you're living in a way that's far from who you're meant to be, the body has, stores and locks up. I'll give you an example. A client, really strong individual, confident man, had this big work challenge come up, which was really exciting. But he didn't really think that he was able to achieve the outcome that the people who promoted him to this role thought he could. So that limiting belief was incongruent with who he really was. Because he so didn't believe in himself, yet he had such pressure to perform to this level, it triggered his anxiety. And once it became triggered once, it happened over and over and over again. The time he came in to see me, he'd already lived with it for a decade. Becoming conscious of his thinking pattern and the structure in his body, shifting both of those at the same time, he was free. I have heaps of stories and testimonials of people who have had anxiety for 30 years and they've tried all sorts of treatment protocols. But what happens is when you look at it all together and finally stop trying to push it away and allow yourself to become aware of what's really going on, it all starts to disappear. Another quick story, and this is really important. Did you know that sometimes when you have anxiety, it serves you on some level? A client of mine had this constant feeling of anxiety always present. She was a mum. I said, what's the benefit of anxiety? And at first it's like, what do you mean there's no benefit? But she thought about it and she said, well, I'm always worrying about my kids. I don't want them to get hurt, or I don't want this to happen. And she realized that by being anxious was her way of making sure that nothing bad happened to them. And it was actually helping her being, in her mind, a really good mother. So what happened is we helped her become conscious that she was doing this. And we replaced this anxious feeling with being mindful. So now she's still a great mother, but she doesn't have to do it using some weird behavioral pattern that results in her feeling less than happy. Because life's amazing, and if you know how to enjoy and really feel life to be amazing, it can. If you're stuck in these patterns of worry with your thinking or your body, they're connected to each other and you can't be well. I could talk for hours about how I could help you, but the reality is there's only a few options. So come to me, explore one of the others, and if that works, amazing. And if not, maybe then come to me. I'm always happy to help people have a shift, a massive shift. I don't want you just to feel a little bit better. I want you to feel so much better. If that excites you, then make an appointment for a free consultation, and I look forward to meeting you and helping you really soon.